Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of Chemcon Specialty Chemicals Limited, hosted by Ambit Capital. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on a touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Prashanjit Bhuya from Ambit Capital. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Rituja. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Ambit Capital, I welcome you to Q4 and FY21 conference call of Chemcon Specialty. Today we have with us Mr. Kamal Agarwal, Chairman and Managing Director, and Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, CFO of the company. We will start with brief commentary from the management, followed by Q&A. I invite now Mr. Kamal Agarwal for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Prashanjit. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Chemcon Specialty Chemicals Limited, I extend a warm welcome to everyone for joining us on our call today. I hope you and your loved ones are safe and doing well. On this call, we are joined with our full-time Director and CFO, Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, and the SGA, our Investor Relation Advisors. I hope everyone has got an opportunity to go through the financial results and the investor presentations. These were uploaded on the stock exchange as well as on the company website. We'll give you a quick snapshot of our company and then Mr. Rajesh will walk through the financial performance. Chemcon started the journey in 1990. Initially, we were into the different chemicals, small size, small volume chemicals. But during the early 2000s, we entered into the business of HMDS. Again, started with a small volume. But then gradually we added few other products like CMIC and various bromides over the period of time. Today, we are leading manufacturers for the products that we manufacture like HMDS, CMIC and inorganic bromides. Our product performances, to brief them, HMDS, the performance of this product has been good due to ongoing momentum in the pharma industry. We are the largest manufacturer of HMDS in India and the second largest in the world in terms of real-time production as well as the installed capacities. It is primarily used in the pharmaceutical industries. It can also be used in other industries like semiconductor industries or for organic synthesis. For the year 21, HMDS has contributed nearly 50% of the total revenue of company, of which 84% of HMDS revenues are been contributed from the domestic market and around 15 to 16% is been contributed from the international exports. Performance of this product has been good due to ongoing momentum in the pharma industry. The demands remain high. The shortfalls have been met from the international suppliers. The other product, CMIC, it is an antiviral drug intermediate product which is the key intermediate for an anti-AIDS or anti-hepatitis B drug, that is tenofovir. Demand for this product has been very strong throughout the year. We have registered a production volume of 1800 metric tons with a revenue of 84 crores, contributing around 35% in the financial year 21. Split between the domestic market and export market has been almost equal for this product. We do not have recent data, but we have the sense that we have attained the #1 position for this product globally. In other words, I would say we have become the largest manufacturer of CMIC in the world on the basis of the real-time productions. For the oil well completion chemicals, we produce inorganic bromides called calcium bromide, zinc bromide, sodium bromide, and such things. These are commonly used as completion fluids in the oil field industry. These bromides are generally used in oil well projects. This segment has shown some revival in the last few months of second half H2 financial year 21. But overall, the business has been soft and mere 31 crore could be contributed. That is 13% of our total business. It is very difficult to forecast this segment, but we anticipate this segment to come back pre-COVID levels in second half of 22, once the global business environment gets stabilized. Apart from these three products, we have also added 4-CBC, 2,5-DHT, and high purity HMDS as the products into our baskets. 4-CBC is an intermediate used in pharma industry as well as agrochemical industry. It is used for the preparation of pyrazinamide and a medication used for treatment of TB, tuberculosis. It can also be used for the weed controls in maize and sugarcane. We have commercialized this product and contributed a small revenue of 3 crores in the financial year 21. 2,5-DHT is predominantly used in pharmaceutical industry in the preparation of potential antiviral and anti-tumor agents. It is a key starting material for lamivudine. The company is in the process of commencing the productions of 2,5-DHT. In HMDS, for the high purity HMDS, approval takes a little bit longer time. Hence, we predict this product to pick up gradually during the current year. Our manufacturing facilities are located at Manjusar. It is in district Savli, near Vadodara, about 10 kilometers outskirts of Vadodara, being Gujarat. Within our manufacturing facility, we have currently 7 operational plants along with 3 warehouses for storage of our products and raw materials. We also have an in-house laboratory and our manufacturing facilities to test raw materials procured and the products at various stages of manufacturing process. As stated earlier, we are enhancing our capabilities of manufacture of intermediates within the same premises, the extended premises, by way of putting up the new plants, plant number 8 and plant number 9. We call it as P8 and P9, which will further increase our strength for the existing product portfolio as well as added products. Due to second wave of pandemic, the project commercialization has been delayed by approximately a month or so. We expect both this unit to commence their production by Q2 22 and Q3 22 respectively. Products added in these 2 units will be a mix of new as well as old products. We will be adding few more capacities of CMIC and other new products catering to high demand in the domestic market. P8 and P9 will be multi-purpose facilities which will give some flexibility to add products based on the demand. Over the years, we have lots of efforts to build technical expertise to handle this chemistry. Moreover, some of the raw materials that we use are such as bromine, methyl chloroformate, that is MCF, trimethylchlorosilane, that is TMCS, which are highly toxic and highly corrosive chemicals, some of them phosphonated and siliconized. Therefore, handling these chemicals require high degree of technical skills and also the experience and expertise for handling the same. Operations involving such hazardous chemicals ought to be undertaken only by the staff who are well trained, well experienced, well matured. Working is a compulsion on this. Our continued business with some major MNCs are testimony of our proficiency. We adhere to all necessary protocol to match the client's requirements, which are of global standards. We are confident that post our expansion, we will have better product basket to offer to our clients, which are majorly import substitutions. Our product basket would be majorly import substitution, and we will be well equipped to capture upcoming opportunities in both new and existing clients. We welcome FY22 with new aspirations and hope everyone is vaccinated and out of the challenging times. With now, I hand over the call to Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, CFO, for the financial performance of the company for the year FY21.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Good afternoon, everyone. Q4 21 has been a productive quarter for us as we continue to sustain a high growth from pharma chemical, negating our moderate performance in bromide business. To cover Q4 21, total revenue stood at 71.5 crores, a growth of 38% on YOY basis. Domestic market contributes around 72%, whereas international market contributes around 28%. Total production volume for the Q4 was at 1954 metric ton as compared to 2121 metric ton same period last year. It was lower due to lower volume uptake in bromide business. Segment-wise revenue are as follow. HMDS revenue stood at Rs 34 crores. CMIC revenue stood at 22 crores. Oil well completion revenue stood at 13 crores. EBITDA growth by 53% to Rs 21 crores in Q4 21 on YOY basis. Net profit for Q4 21 stood at Rs 15 crore with growth of 58%. Full year ended 21, total revenue stood at Rs 244 crore. Our bromide business has been impacted due to pandemic has recovered in H2 21, which was offset by robust demand in business of HMDS and CMIC. Domestic market contributes around 71%, whereas international market contributes around 29%. Production volume for financial year 21 was at 6840 metric tons. Segment-wise revenue for FY21 are as follow. HMDS revenue stood at Rs 121 crores. CMIC revenue stood at Rs 84 crores. Oil well completion revenue stood at Rs 31 crores. EBITDA stood at Rs 81.1 crores in financial year 21, a growth by 15% on YOY basis. Net profit for financial year 21 stood at Rs 56 crores, a growth of 15% on YOY basis. Our ROC and ROE stood at 21% and 60% respectively. Our debt to equity ratio stood at 0.01%. Total capital expenditure incurred for financial year 21 has been Rs 38 crores, of which is 27 crores has been done through internal accrual and balance from IPO proceedings. Rs 11 crores has been utilized for expansion of manufacturing facilities, whereas Rs 40 crores has been incurred for working capital requirement. With this, I conclude the presentation and open the floor for further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Rahul Veera from Abacus Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So just wanted to understand, like in our presentation, we have given that our bromide business had utilization of 13%. So with the current crude prices up close to $70, do we see some positive trend there in terms of prices as well as volume, sir? Can you give some guidance there?
Yeah, with the price of crude near inching to $70 or roaming around $70,
Right.
well, the inquiries have the projects, new projects have started pumping in, and the requirements have means H2. If you see, there is a movement of material of worth about 31 crore, as well as in the current year also, year 22, there are good mobilizations of the product. We can definitely forecast very good volumes to come up in the year 22 for the bromides.
Okay, but there is also a sharp price increase along with that if the inquiries come up, sir? Like how does
No,
the price
there are no price increases. Rather, there may be a price decrease. Demand is very low compared to the availability of the product in the international market. We had seen the recession, and hence the stock holding of the manufacturers is there.
Okay.
So we don't advise any price increase in this product, in at least for 1.5 quarter.
Okay. And in terms of, sir, long term, our CMIC is more or less 100% utilized. So it's largely going to be HMDS and the new capacities for the new products that are coming up. That will drive the growth over the next 2 years. Is that the correct assessment?
HMDS, we already have the installed capacities. It is a factor of utilization. We are attempting to utilize more and more out of that. And we had taken it to nearly 3,000 tons in the past year. We intend to take it to about 3,300 tons in the current financial year. In respect to CMIC, well, with the plant new upcoming, the plant 8 and 9, plant 8 will have the flexibility to be utilized for CMIC. And if we convert that plant and if we take a call to utilize that, it can give us a volume right up to 3,000 tons. That would become the installed capacity. However, that plant will be having a fungible designs, and we will be able to utilize partially or fully for CMIC.
Okay. And so last question from my end, in terms of margin visibility from going ahead, like we've seen the volatility in the last year from 33%, we've come down to 26 in Q4. Like what is the visibility going ahead? Will we be able to maintain something 30% plus in the next 2 years?
Chemcon had been working with the per kg margins as always. It is the percentage, if we consider, it may not be the correct figure working, because as the product prices moves ups and downs, the percentage moves ups and downs. However, the volumes or the PAT or the bottom line of the industry depends upon the volumes that we are processing.
Okay.
We have always been remaining working with that, and that has given the performance accordingly. Say for example, if the HMDS is 700 rupees, the margins are 200 rupees, it comes to somewhere about 30%. And if it is 500 rupees and margin is 200 rupees, it comes to 40%. So percentage can change, the volume or the amount would remain on per kg basis.
Okay.
That is the working strategy of Chemcon.
Okay, fair point, sir. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Welcome, always welcome.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Devendra Pandey from BP Financial. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thanks for taking my question. So I have a couple of questions. My first question is on our exports market. So can you throw some light on how the exports market is growing? Your share on insight on client addition and new geographic penetration, which we have done for new as well as existing products?
Devendraji, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
In respect to the exports, you see the figures that we have provided, it includes the physical exports outside the peninsula or the country borders, as well as it includes even to the SEZ or the special economic zones, wherein it is considered as deemed exports by way of the export policies. So the figures that one we are saying it is export physically It may be or may not be have been exported out of the country, but in the books of accounts, it is considered as exports.
Sir, did we face any issue because of this Suez Canal blockage?
Our incoming raw materials coming from that area got delayed, but we had ample stocks and that could take care of the working, and we have not been impacted because of that.
Got it. And sir, my second question would be on our capex. So whatever the capex which we have planned for next 2 years, can you give us some highlights on that and how that capex would be utilized?
In principle, the IPO proceeds, we had mentioned 41 crore of rupees to be utilized for the capex. That is an ongoing process and we are utilizing that. The investments have already been done to the extent of about 38 crores, which includes about 12.62 crores for the additional land that was been acquired last year. And out of the 38 crore, we have just utilized about 11 crore from the IPO proceeds, and balance has been utilized from the internal accruals.
Got it. And sir, for FY21...
In respect to further working, we have enough space for the plant number 10 and 11. So we are proposing, because we have enough of accrued capital, we would be utilizing that for expansion.
Okay. So you mean that the entire capex would be funded through internal accruals and no debt would be taken for this capex, right?
In today's era, we do not forecast for that. We feel it would be enough. The internal accruals, the cash accruals that the company is able to generate should be enough to take care for the next couple of years for the expansion.
Got it. That answers my question, sir. I will join the queue if I have any further questions. Thank you.
Welcome, Devendra. Welcome always.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Pavaskar from InCrowd Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, my question was on working capital, margins and RM, necessity for keeping RM adequate amounts, as you had, I think, explained in an earlier call. Can you explain how company is thinking about WC days management over the next 1-2 years, plans to reduce them, and concurrently what happens to margins and what happens to trade terms, and how do customers react, etc.? What may be the attendant issues?
You see, the margins of Chemcon are related to the international working. The pricing of the product is internationally controlled by many of the manufacturers. So we maintain the similar range of pricing of the product that is in line with the international market, and we generate the profits or the margins by way of our technology or our working or different systems. It is related even to the procurements. Now, as far as the inventories or the working capital is concerned, we have to maintain as a policy, we have to maintain couple of months of raw materials. You can see the sales versus the raw material portions, you will find it is quite high. The receivables are longer. So these are certain limitations for the business which we are facing, and we hope to reduce this. But as we will be expanding, our volumes will be growing up. In fact, these requirements will be increasing in the time. We have already availed the enhanced working capital requirements by way of IPO proceeds. We had projected the requirements of additional finance for working capital and will be utilizing that.
Okay, sir. What I meant was, I recall in the DRHP there is good detail about how, and it was in line with that, I do recognize that, for example, TMCS has high fluctuations, can have high fluctuations at times. And for that reason, once you had, I think, mentioned that you do need to keep that on stock, like you just said. But is there any scope for, discussions with customers? I don't know, in terms of contracting, where some of the WC pressure on the company can be reduced in lieu of slightly reduced margins even, but that reduces balance sheet risk. Is there any chance for that?
You see, balance sheet amounts reduction, there are various methodologies that can be adopted, but then there is a cost to that. And employing that cost will reduce the margins for the company. So it is a call to be taken by the management whether we should continue maintaining this higher margins or we should curtail down the margins on that. So
The net
as on
ROE,
date, as per the
ROC should
financial
be
positions
still
of the
constant, right?
company, we are holding that.
Okay. I'll come back in the queue. I'll come back with some additional questions after others are done. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jigar Walia from OHM Group. Please go ahead.
Hi, congratulations and thanks for the opportunity. My question pertains to our inorganic bromides, which are largely used as completion fluids in oil field. Just wanted to understand if we get cues from some other entities or other companies, so something like an ATBS, which is also used in enhanced oil recovery. Could we see these kind of products moving in tandem to kind of take indirect cues for Chemcon?
Mr. Walia, I'm not clear on your question. Can you please
Yes.
repeat?
Yeah, I will try to explain. What I understand, the inorganic bromides that we use are more used into the oil and gas industry rather than the pharma industry.
Right.
Right. Second, since we look at other companies also which are, say, into ATBS, etc., and like Vinati, etc., which have been also, and we look at the expansions, etc., the growth indications coming in from that side, and those products also to an extent are used in the oil and gas for the enhanced oil recovery, etc.
Yeah.
So can we take cues that from one industry to the other in terms of draw parallels, in terms of understanding where the traction is growing? A follow-up to the earlier question with the oil price coming back to at 70, etc. So.
Now, Mr. Walia, you see, the application of the product takes care of the business strategies. Now, the products that are being used as a regular consumable product with the oil and gas industry, their requirements or their flow will be different. The product that we manufacture as bromides are the completion fluids. Now, these fluids are utilized as a capex only. It is one-time utilization of the new project.
Understood.
Although being a chemical. So the application-wise, it is a different source, different working system. We cannot compare the two.
Understood. Very helpful. So my next question pertains to our P8 and P9 expansions, which are in Q2, Q3. These would be mostly by the end of the quarter, or should we expect some numbers in the quarter as well? It's a short-term question here.
We can consider by end of September, it should be operational.
End of September, the P8?
P8 should be operational.
Okay.
And similarly, end of December, you can.
End of December. Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. And over the slightly medium term, etc., how should we kind of look in terms of the capacity ramp up or the overall volume expansion going ahead?
For the CMIC, we are trying to improve the process parameters and taking the productivity a better one. We hope in the existing plants we will be able to improve the capacities to some extent, maybe 10 to 15%, may not be beyond that. And the real capacities can come up by way of P8 only, which will be in Q3 and Q4, we will be able to utilize that.
Yeah, my question was more pertaining to P8, P9. How should we look at the ramp up in capacity utilization at P8, P9?
Half year capacities we will be able to utilize in P8 for the current year, which will be giving us additional business or the revenues to some of the new products, or can be utilized even for the existing CMIC.
Got it. So basically 50% utilization for H2 for P8 and Q4 for P9.
Yeah. P8 half year, 2 quarters, and P9 1 quarter.
And 50% for the respective quarters.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, and good to know that the projects are going on schedule, hardly a delay of 1 month. So the first question is in terms of the industry volume growth. So as I can see from slide 15 of our presentation, generally globally there is an excess capacity in both HMDS as well as PMIC, and we are trying to get the import substitution. So how is it possible for us to tap this market? Is it that we are playing on the pricing part, or is it something different because of which we feel that our newer capacity expansions also will be completely utilized, in the medium term? So what's the thought process on this? Thank you.
Sumit, the thought process on the product working is that you see the existing capacities are enough. We are falling short of production. The requirement of the domestic countries requirement tons for HMDS, we are able to mirror volumes of 3,000 tons. There is still a gap of about 2,000 tons under imports. We are commercially at par, technically at par. Our product is accepted by almost all users across the country. That would give us the country's requirements to be taken care from the additional production.
All right. Good to know that. So the concurrent question to this is that how generally in how much time our capacities get filled? So does it take about 2, 3, 4 years? Now, what is the kind of timeline that we are looking at when we are expanding a particular capacity from X level to maybe 1.5, 2X? Thank you.
Normally, when we expand the capacity, we consider the projection of the next 2 years, the requirements, and we take care of that.
Fair enough. So the second question is in terms of our R&D. So how our R&D is positioned in terms of new product development, process development, because currently we are dealing with probably a few number of products, but from a 3 to 5 year perspective in terms of diversification of the product basket as well as from a long-term growth perspective, how are we placed? Thank you.
Sumitji, we do not have R&D. We have PD, product development. We do not do research, but we do redevelopment of the engineering of the product. The chemistry remains the same. The engineering keeps on upgrading. We work on engineering. Our product development increases the efficiencies, it brings down the solvent consumptions, the process timings, the capex, the safety of the processing. That is where Chemcon works. Chemcon does not do R&D as on date. So my teams, the engineering teams as well as my chemist teams are always on the work for the new products, which would be import substitutions mainly.
Right, got it. Thanks a lot for answering questions and best of luck. Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the Rajni Sahu from Thrill Investment. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon all. Thanks for taking my question. I want to ask about HMDS chemical which you produce is also used in coating of semiconductors. So could you please give some percentage of how much revenue of HMDS is from semiconductor, and also is there any increase in demand for HMDS for semiconductor as we are facing global shortage of semiconductor? Thank you.
We have recently put up the plant for high purity HMDS to be utilized in the semiconductor industry as well as for the pharmaceutical rubber manufacturing, silicon rubber, high purity rubber manufacturing for that. The acceptability or the approvals and movement of this product into the market takes very long time, and it is longer than what we anticipated even. The semiconductor industry, the coating, it is taking more than what we expected the time. We have not been able to utilize up to the mark of HMDS high purity product. However, we got initial supplies. The inching has been initiated. Educative supplies have been done. We cannot say there is a margin, there is an appreciable or there is a revenue that should be considered as an important revenue for the balance sheet. But well, the flow has started, that can be assured.
Okay. So is there any percentage of revenue that you are generating from HMDS for semiconductor?
It won't be in percentage, maybe 0.5% or so. So I don't say that it has got a weightage on the balance sheet or the P&L account.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nimish Mehta from Research Delta Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Firstly, when I was looking at your presentation, I think it is also related to other participants who have inquired. The HMDS, amount of import that we do, domestic import, is about 1622 metric ton, versus our own production capacity of 2650 metric ton. Now, when we are looking at import substitution as the way forward for our growth, how will this happen in HMDS, or are we looking at export growth only in HMDS? Because our own production is higher than the domestic import, almost twice than that, roughly that much.
Mr. Nimish, there is some gap in understanding that if we go through the import data of the country, the total imports of HMDS is more than 5,000. The total requirement of HMDS for the country is more than 5,000 tons. 3,000 tons is manufactured last year by Chemcon, and balance is from the imports. And that's the market we are attempting to penetrate by way of increasing our production.
Okay. I'm by the way looking at the presentation that you had uploaded, in which it is written domestic import at about 1622 metric ton. Nevertheless, but the numbers you mentioned are the total gap in import. The requirement is still about 3,000 metric ton, right? Versus our own production.
The gap is about 2,000 metric ton.
2,000 metric ton, but our own production is already at 2,650 metric ton.
So against a total requirement of 5,000, 3,000 has already been manufactured and supplied by Chemcon. The balance of 2,000 is from the imports, which we intend to fulfill by way of additional production.
So we are the only one who are kind of supplying domestically. Is that how it is then?
Yes.
Oh,
we are the only ones.
We are the only one. And we don't see any more competition. I mean, basically, we will be able to kind of fulfill the rest of the need as well through our own capacity augmentation, right?
Nimish, there are a lot of barriers for the entry of this product, which you can see through the presentation. However, we cannot stop somebody.
No, understood. Correct. Second, I again trying to understand more. You mentioned about linkages to crude pricing. So is it is the crude price linked to the input costs or raw material costs or our own product pricing, or both?
See, crude price is related to the new projects coming up for drilling, for getting the new or the additional crude oil. And one of the products, that is bromide, that is related to new drilling for crude oil. So that is how we are linking that with the crude oil prices. If the prices are higher, new projects for drilling would come up, and as they would come up, the demand for bromide would come up and would be impacting our sales. That is how we are linking that with the crude oil prices. There is no raw material that has been consumed by us, of course, except the fuels. No otherwise raw materials that are petroleum-based products that Chemcon is consuming. So we will not crude oil prices directly.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Welcome.
Very helpful.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Pawasar from Ingrowth Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My question was on the expansions that are to happen, and for the filings that the company has made, presumably they are going to be within that list. They may be low tonnage in certain respects, but in terms of contribution, I believe they'll be higher. So maybe 3 years, 4 years from now, when some of the things from P8, 9 are done, and beyond that, when you have even 10 and 11, so maybe take a 5-year view. And after 5 years, what does the company think, the revenue split can be like? So concentration that is there today towards HMDS, how much can that be brought down to with addition of other products? Thank you.
You see, that will depend upon the products that we add. If it is a high value, low volume product, the contributions may be different. If it is low value, high volume product, the 50 crores will jump to 500 or 1000 crores in next 5 years. Without giving that figures, yes, we are continuously expanding, and please don't expect the P10 and 11 to be completed in next 5 years. We are targeting that to be completed within the next 2 years.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, I got that wrong. Thank you.
Right. Welcome.
Thank you. To ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Sunil from SNS Foundation. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I have 2 questions. One was on the debtor days. Now, if you look at pre-corona, even March 20, your debtor days had gone up to about 124, which is almost a doubling from March 2019 and March 2018. So going from a 2-month working capital credit to 4 months. And per what you mentioned earlier, it's only going to become more. In fact, 2021 March is 142, I think. If it goes up further, you're taking 6 months working capital. That's going to cause stress on your balance sheet and get your ratios down. Just some comments on that, and then I'll follow up with the second question.
You see, in the basket of products, we have 2 main streams. One is related to the petroleum, and the second is related to pharma. The pharma industry, the payment conditions remains stretched, whereas in respect to the oil well chemicals, it remains quite healthy. That was taking care of making an average credit days for the working capital requirements. Now, in the last year, if you have seen, the bromide business has come down. It has come to somewhere around 30 crores, which has resulted into a lower recovery time, means higher recovery time for the pharma on the balance sheet. Actually, it remains like that.
I see. But just to compound it, the prices of the bromide have gone down. So as that expands, your working capital will become less stretched, but your realizations will be going down, is what you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My second question was on the PLI. In your last conference call, you had mentioned that the Aurobindo Pharma is a regular customers of ours, and they are setting up this 15,000 MT penicillin G factory under PLI, and you'd expect some business to come our way from that. Any update on that, on how soon that will be happening, and can we expect some upsides there?
You see, the penicillin volumes increased in productions will be affecting the imports of penicillin into India. However, whatever penicillin has been imported into India, they are consuming HMDS, which more or less has been supplied by Chemcon.
Yes.
So that remains there. Aurobindo, whether they produce penicillin or they import, it makes no difference to Chemcon.
No, my question was that since they will be setting up a new plant to avail of the PLI scheme, wouldn't that be an additional upside to you? Because that's incremental volume, right?
I cannot say that it would be an incremental volume or it will be a substitution to the imports.
I see. Okay. Got
As
it.
on date, suppose they are importing, say out of 15,000, if they are importing 10,000, and they or the country is importing that, and 5,000 would be domestic. Likewise, means if the volumes remains the same,
right.
Substitution of the imports is there, it will not be impacting Chemcon.
Got it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan Ramani from Ramani Holidays. Please go ahead. Mr. Ramani, please go ahead. Your line is unmuted. Mr. Ramani, may we request you to unmute yourself if muted from the handset. As there is no response from the line of
અરે
Mr.
બોલ તું
Raman.
કઈ ઓલા ફોન કોલ માં તને અનમ્યુટ કર્યો છે.
Hello.
ચેતન અરે બોલ તને અનમ્યુટ કર્યો છે ફોન કોલ માં. અરે ઓલા લોકોએ કેમ્પોન વાળે તો કઈ.
As there is no response from the line of Mr. Ramani, we will move to the next question, which is from the line of Mr. Ankan Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I have a couple of questions. My first question is regarding what is the total capacity we have for CMIC product?
The total capacity of CMIC is about 1,800 tons.
Okay. So in the investor presentation, it is given as, P6, we have like multi-purpose capacity, CMIC, 4CBC, and 25DHT.
Right.
So I believe we can manufacture CMIC in P6 also.
Right.
So if that is the case, as and when you decide to manufacture CMIC in P6, till the time P8 is ready, how much capacity is available for the manufacture of CMIC?
The total capacity that we will be able to manufacture post commissioning of P8 would be about 3,000 tons.
No, sir. I am asking pre-commissioning of P8 because we are already running at full capacity.
We have the flexibility to convert part of the P6 to CMIC, and we can avail about 600 tons out of that.
600 tons per year or?
Yeah, per year. Per year.
Per year. So that means we have the 600 tons of additional quantity available for this 2 quarters.
Sure.
Okay. So my second question is little bit technical. I was going through the RHP where it is mentioned that there are 2 ways to manufacture HMDS.
Yes.
One is using PMCS as a starting raw material.
Yep.
And second one is using HMDO as the starting chemical.
Right.
So is it correct that if you are using CMIC infrastructure to make HMDS, you have to use HMDO as the raw material?
If you are using TMCS, we don't have to use HMDO. It is either of the two.
No, sir, you didn't get me. If we are using CMIC infrastructure or the facility to make HMDS, do we have to use HMDO as the starting raw material? Hello? 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 Hello?
Ladies and gentlemen, the line of the management got disconnected. Please stay connected while we reconnect them back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding your line. The management line is reconnected. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Jain, we were talking in respect to the RHP's procedure and the details of HMDS manufacturing using two routes. That is, one is from TMCS and the other is from HMDO.
Correct. So what my question was, in 2019 and all, we were using CMIC capacity since the demand for HMDS were high during that year.
Yeah.
So in that way, when you are using CMIC infra, do we have to use HMDO as the raw material?
Utilize the plant for making HMDS, we can use either of the two raw material.
Okay. So which process gets us the better margins?
It depends upon time. You see, the prices, I always say the price of TMCS and HMDO also, it keeps on varying like anything. So it depends. We have to take the call on what raw material or what route. Second, what availability of the raw material is there. Based on that, we have to keep on continuous monitoring that. And we have to take a call, what is advisable. And we move accordingly. Last year, as you said, okay, the demand of HMDS was high. It is not so. The contribution from HMDO was high. HMDS was high compared to CMIC. So we took the call to manufacture more of HMDS against CMIC.
Okay. So my next question
it is related to contribution. It is not related to the demand. And contribution, the processing remains the same, but we have to take the call upon the availability of raw material and costing of individual products.
Okay, fair enough. Got it, sir. Got it. Sir, in the investor presentation, slide number 16, where regarding the production of HMDS, it says some outsourced capacity on 3,003 metric ton of production. Does it mean that we are depending on some vendors to manufacture HMDS?
The outsourced capacities, this were related to an accident that we faced. And during that, manufactured temporarily the distillation part, we got it done from some other source. So that was including the outsourcing one.
So otherwise, we manufacture the entire HMDS within the company.
100% activities are done in-house within the plant only.
Okay. Okay. Sir, if I'm allowed to squeeze in one more question, I just wanted to know who are the competitors for this high purity HMDS?
Domestically, we do not have any competitors. We have a couple of international competitors like Shin-Etsu, Wacker Chemi, and Shincha, a Chinese company.
Oh, so these are basically Chinese companies only?
No. One is Japanese, the other is European.
Okay. Now, what I want to know is...
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Jain. May I request you? We have participants waiting for their turn.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinod Chandra Agarwal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to get you.
Yeah. Sir, I have a question about in the last quarter presentation, I would say that we had an approval of 44 products from the government authority. And currently we are only producing products. So, I just wanted to understand, our plan, when we are planning to launch these remaining products. Because I heard that, we are planning kind of a 2 to 3 products in a year to launch that. So, I'm just kind of confused that how long it will take to launch all these 44 products.
Vinodji, as a policy of Chemcon, we may not be launching all the products even in the lifetime of Chemcon. Do you see these permissions we had taken for some of the this 44 products? This is in respect to taking the capacities enhancement and manufacturing of some of the chemicals out of the list. The volumes may change from the list. Say for example, if there are 10 products of 100 tons each, we may manufacture 2 products into 500 tons, and totally it may become 1000 tons. So the products that we have listed upon are related to the volumes and not related to the individual products. Please be clear, we will be utilizing the volumes against that. The total volumes we will be utilizing promptly. We will not be taking longer time.
Okay. So these are the like kind of the bunch of the product, the volume of the product for which we have the approval, right? Rather than the product.
Yes.
Okay, understood. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you. There's a tremendous growth of opportunity for us as we penetrate deeper into the pharma space and suffice the requirements as chemical supplier, as specialty chemical supplier. Growing needs of pharma MNCs will be the key driver for our growth, where we are amplify and capture the import substitution products. Our role in this growth opportunity will be facilitating them to have sustainable partner in the long term. Parallelly, we are also expanding our products portfolio, and over the next couple of years, we will grow in our business. Thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone for joining us today on this earnings call, and wish you all good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Ambit Capital, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.
Thank you.